What a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful morning. What a beautiful morning. What a blessing and a grace to be here with you all. What's going on, everybody? This is Jordan with Conquer Trading and Investing, and we're getting ready here for our live session, doing what we do each and every day. If the notifications aren't working for you, go ahead to the description below. There's a Telegram broadcast channel. Not only will you get every time I go live, will you get a video update, anytime I upload a video, but anytime Heath on Trade Talk publishes a video, you'll get alerted, or Brandon on Crypto Trades and Tech, conquering the markets all day long. It's what we do. We work together as a family. We build each other up. We continue to improve, continue to increase our knowledge collectively as a whole, as a group, so we could do what is necessary to stay on the most important trade that matters, stay on the right side of the most important trade that matters, so we could conquer the markets. We work together. If Heath is crushing it, that makes me the proudest person there is, because that's important to me. All right, everyone. What are we looking at today? We're looking at Bitcoin trading at $58,982. All right, beautiful. We got an important session ahead. I think it's going to be a fire session. I was preparing it for a while yesterday. It's very important to me to share it with you. We're going to take a look at it, and we're going to make sure that we continue to have that laser focus. Laser eyes is not about $100,000 Bitcoin. Laser eyes is making sure that we stay on top of the bull of all bulls, riding it to completion before it bucks. Because a lot of people that are hodling, a lot of hodlers, they're going to all of a sudden see in a short period of time, whether it's 4 to 6 weeks, Bitcoin come off approximately 70%. That's when the bubble pops. Is Bitcoin yet in a bubble? We're going to take a look at it right now. We're going to take a look across all the markets. As we see equity markets under a little bit of pressure today, we see the dollar bid and rates continue to rise now. What is going on? Everybody, smash the like button. Let's get going today. It's Taco Tuesday. You're right. It's time to focus on the technicals. But before I do, let's focus on Alan AU. Alan, institutional customers that custody their Bitcoin with Fidelity. This is amazing. Fidelity, by the way, what was last year when Fidelity went ahead and made a push towards Bitcoin, towards the institutional clients, it was I don't know if it was $7 or $9 trillion Fidelity. $7 or $9 trillion Fidelity, allowing institutional customers to custody their Bitcoin. They could now hold on to their Bitcoin throughout the bear market. They know it's coming, without selling. How? Fidelity backed loans via BlockFi and Silvergate Bank. This is a game changer. This is absolutely amazing. You know what? This is beautiful. BlockFi in the description below. I'm a big fan. I'm a big customer. I hold this, anyway, I love it. Now we see the institutions going ahead and take advantage of that as well. It's beautiful. This is Michael Saylor inspired stuff over here for institutions not wanting to give up that Bitcoin, but looking to go ahead and borrow against it. People are wondering, well, what's going to happen with their loan to value ratio when the bear market comes, right? Are they going to get wrecked? Are we going to see some? Come on, these people. If you have any questions about how to do that, last week our training session in Conquering the Markets was exactly on how to avoid liquidations, how to get the most out of how to take the loans out at the correct time. Advanced stuff, but necessary for anyone who's considering ever taking out a loan against their crypto. Listen, I would never recommend anyone at any time borrow money against their Bitcoin to buy more Bitcoin. If you're asking questions how to do it or why, it's not for you. Experts only. But if you want to begin to learn, to see what's going on, that video is for you. Alan, thanks again for keeping us in the loop and updated. This is from Brad. This is amazing. If you just recently joined the Conquering the Markets program and you watched the video produced 3 weeks ago that talked about how to thrive in conquering the markets, getting started, best practices, how to make sure with this wealth of invaluable information that you don't get lost and you know exactly where to build your foundation, which videos to start with, what is the correct practices. Brad, right, who, by the way, started a year ago with zero experience in the markets. Zero. He's the one who went ahead and put together the DXY chart that we look at and follow over here. He's the one who just shared with me yesterday this new beautiful chart. If you remember, if I come back over here, if you remember, if those that have been following the channel for a while, if you remember the lines that they're gone from the chart now, the trend lines that I was looking at with this prime trend line over here, I'm going to hold on 1 second. This prime trend line that I was using, I cloned them all the way up, right? And this was our guide. And then I stopped once we made the new all-time high. Brad has continued, took the baton, passed it off, and look at this beautiful guide he has given us. This is so important right now as Bitcoin's trading at $59,000, getting ready, it appears to me, to break to new all-time highs. Because as it breaks to new all-time highs, what do? We have to be preemptive of everything that's going on. We have to look at where our potential price target will be. When I say price target, I mean the next area of resistance that we're looking for this move to kind of base out for a moment, and what we see and whether or not it's going to be another pullback coming into the end of the month and options expiration. I don't know, but that's a pattern we can't ignore. But we have to focus on what our resistance is above. Look at this. This is beautiful over here. Brad taking a prime trend line over here, cloning it, putting it all the way up. You could see that twice. We've come into the top resistance. That would bring us right now towards somewhere around 70, let's call it $73,000. Okay? We have a bit of resistance before we get to that. That area is somewhere around $67,000. We're even a little bit higher, $68,000, right? This is the first zone that we're going to be looking for price perhaps to peel back or take off, or higher, if it, higher towards that $73,000. It's interesting because if you take a look at what Will did over here, and this was done, I think, the first week of January. It was the first week of January that and this video, by the way, it's called Using Log Charts for Price Target Levels. And it's on the Bitcoin playlist on the channel. It's one of the first few videos if you want to take a look at it. The work that Will did put us right around. Look where that. So $75,000 he has over here, and that's about a month away. If you move right over it, it's around $73,000. Do you see that? Do you see that both Will and Brad have given us the next level to watch? The next level to watch on the way up. The high end is towards $73,000. Beautiful. This is the look on the 8-hour, by the way. This is Brad over here, just looking at the 8-hour, so you can get an idea of what you're looking at over here. And again, $73,000 in that area is the next price target or bit of resistance that we're looking for this next wave to cap out about, assuming that we do go on to make new all-time highs on this push out of the bull flag. As we're breaking out right now, we've not only broken out, we've come in for a retest and are resuming off. It's not just Bitcoin. It's also Ethereum looking good over here. Ethereum broke out, came in for the retest. You see the lower high into the broken trend line resistance, testing it as support, and now resuming it off. We now have Bitcoin and Ethereum breaking out of their consolidation. It's a healthy market, and it looks beautiful. And I'm so happy to be able to work together with all of you. When I first started the community, and Heath was there. There was like 15 of us there every day for months. Then there was 30 every day for months. And the quality of the content was the same. It didn't matter how many people were there. People were telling me yesterday, Jordan, excuse me, Jordan, if you shorten the videos to 20 minutes, you're going to get way more views. And most of it's low value content anyway. I don't care. I could care less about the number of views, sincerely. What I'm here is to go ahead and build the future of all those that are here and invest themselves into this community. It is life-changing. It has changed numerous lives. That's what's important to me. That's what's profound. If you're interested in views, you could just talk in all caps and put urgent, caution, blah, 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 blah. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in working with people who could help me become not only a better person, but a better trader and help me. It's a feedback loop conquering the markets where we all continue to improve ourselves, to improve our abilities, work together, iron sharper and iron, and conquer the markets as we do, and nobody does it better. And nobody does it better. All right, so what else are we looking at? We got a lot to look at. Brad, very impressive stuff. I'm grateful for you. Love it. Same thing over here with Will. Will continues to shine over here. Will, could you get us an updated version or zoomed in version again as we get closer? Would really appreciate that. What else are we looking at? I want you to focus right here on this spot. This is very important. This is very critical, urgent. Pay attention. Take a sip of your coffee and watch what's going on over here. I want you to focus on this spot over here. It was on October 1st, 2020. We were just about 6 weeks into the bull market. The bull market was on the break of this trend line. By the way, if you extend this trend line all the way up, what does it do? It touches, I think it's the June 2019 high, 14,000, and then it goes to the all-time high back in December 2017, call it 19,600. Once we broke out over here, breakout, retest, resumption, circle that, conquering the markets all day long, that was the beginning, the technical break of the bull market on Bitcoin. We had saw it coming and been preparing for it ahead of time, as what we always do. As we always do, we're preemptive of what's to happen in the future, preparing ourselves psychologically, mentally, so that when we get that technical signal, we're there and prepared and can act. I want you to focus right over here on October the 1st, 2020. Bitcoin was trading at 10,500. That was 6 months ago. Okay, 6 months ago, Bitcoin was trading at 10,500. Today, we know that Bitcoin's trading at $59,000. That unfolded rather quickly. 6 months comes and goes in the blink of an eye. A lifetime, if you live 70, 80, 90 years, is still the blink of an eye. 6 months, it's going to be here before you know it. The reason I'm bringing that to your attention is because of what I'm about to share with you next. And that's this right over here. We are right here right now on this wave, on this 4-year cycle over here. We are right here right now. This was 6 months ago, right? The next 6 months are going to happen so quickly. The next 6 months bringing us into the end of September are going to unfold enormously quickly. And the price is about to crush to the upside. I always said, right? It's in the third quarter 2021, then forget it. Forget all correlations breaking in the first quarter 2021, which you've already seen occur. I said in the third quarter, it's going to melt your face off. The next 6 months are going to happen rapidly. Bitcoin is not in a bubble. Bitcoin is going to be in a bubble. It's going to be in a bubble very soon, and it's going to melt people's faces off. I'm preparing you right now for what's about to happen over the next 6 months. Because if you think what happened over the last 6 months was impressive, as Bitcoin went from $10,000 to $60,000, forget about what's about to happen next. As you see Bitcoin approaching what? Well, we'll soon find out. Now, do I think, about to get into some beautiful stuff over here, Dave, that Dave shared with us yesterday. Dave present and accounted for each and every day, conquering the markets all day long to the core. We are getting close right now. You see this dot over here? The next dot is going to look like this color right here. The next dot is going to look like this. The next dot over here. I love this chart from Plan B. It has nothing to do with stock to flow. It has everything to do with coloring how many more months to the next halving. The next dot over here, if you go over here to this dark green dots, that's 15 months to the next halving. That's the cycle low. Approximately 15 months to the next halving. That's the cycle low. If you move to the left, you get this next dot that's about to appear. So whether or not that's tomorrow, a week from now, we are getting close to what the bear market low will be. If that was $60,000, by the way, does that put us at a potential price target of $400,000? $400,000 less 85% takes us back down to $60,000. It's lining up. We're getting just, confluence and confluence and confluence of all of these indicators that are lining up and putting us where we believe that we're going to be. Price alone is going to determine that, but we have everything leading it up. Listen, let me address it really quick. If a pi cycle cross occurs right now, it's a joke. Do not pay attention to it. It is meaningless. If there are traders who are exiting on that pi cycle, they're going to get their faces ripped off. That's what's going to happen. Are enough traders exiting the pi cycle going to be able to bring down a temporary price dump? No, I don't think so at all. It's the opposite of what's going to happen. I wish I had my little, halving tracker chart to pull up with you, right? I do want to pull it up, though. It's kind of important. So if you bear with me 1 second. And the only reason I want to talk about it right now is because there are a lot of people I don't want them to get distracted from what's going on, right? If you listen to the World Wide Web, the internet, throughout these past, let's call it year, you're probably on the wrong side of the trade many different times. Whether or not that was at $14,000 when everyone was looking for a pullback. And I told you, if you're looking for a pullback now at this time of the cycle, you're totally wrong. Price then jumped up to $20,000. It consolidated there for a few weeks. And everyone, including myself, initially looking for that pullback. But after that pullback was only 14% and price recovered, I told you the risk is now to the upside. And then we shot from 20,000 to 40,000 in another few weeks. Be careful who you listen to. You have to consult and at least consider the opinion of those who have a track record of being correct. What we're looking at right now is price appears to be recovering to new all-time highs, right? We're a few $1,000s off the new all-time high. What is that, about 5%? As we make the new all-time high in the first cycle, we enter a vertical move over here. As we make the new all-time high in the second cycle, we enter a vertical move over here. What's going to happen as we make the new all-time high? Are we looking at a potential vertical move towards, $68,000 to $73,000? Well, I definitely think that's what happens next. Be careful exiting on a pi cycle. There's no reason for a pi cycle cross to happen or occur right now. Price is not going vertical. All right. So anyway, I do my best to take care of my own. And it's up to you to decide what you do at all times. Nothing I say is financial advice. Do not listen to me at all. If you don't know what you're doing and why you're doing it, there's no way that you will ever make money in the markets. If you're able to consider my analysis and use that as another, as I call it, let's say indicator, place of reference to get situational awareness, and it makes your own decision making stronger, well, then you're on the right path. This is the way. Right. What else? So is it safe to say right now over here, as this dot is ready to print, that we're looking at the bear market low? Is Bitcoin in a bubble? I think right now, around this range, and whether or not you call it 60,000, whether or not you call it 70,000, right? Or even if we do have a pullback in the next, let's call it 5 days or so, and brings us back towards $55,000, we're at the bear market low right now. Bitcoin is still cheap because if you're one of those hodlers, and you buy Bitcoin now, a year from now, you're going to be all right. You're not going to be underwater, in my opinion. Not financial advice, but Bitcoin is about to become a bubble. When I say about to become, over the next 6 months, Bitcoin is going to be blown into a massive bubble. This is the time to be paying attention because you're going to see we're in for a wild ride as the bull of all bulls gets ready to buck. And it's going to be a bubble, and that bubble is going to pop. And when that bubble pops, it's going to be deflated massively and quickly. Whether or not it's a 4 or 6 week period, whether or not you look at the first cycle or the second cycle, Bitcoin came off 70% during that window. Now, we all know what happens. We all know that when you look at the Wall Street cheat sheet and you see that move that occurs, I'm just coming back down to 2017. I wish I was doing on a daily, but I'm not. Oh, there it is, 70%. We all know that Bitcoin comes off massively and quickly. Here it was 40%, cycle before 50%. That's in just a week or so. And then you get that hope bounce. This is the psychology of a market cycle. It's not just Bitcoin This is how all markets blow off here. And then you see the bounce, right? If you miss the exit, you're going to get, the market's forgiven here. You're going to get a chance to exit. Or you could hodl. I'm a hodler. You could hodl over here, but in a relatively short amount of time, you're looking at Bitcoin coming off 70%. So a lot of people's whose thesis is the institutions are here. They're going to put a floor in the price of Bitcoin, not understanding that institutions need to rebalance. They can't just hodl, right? And then what's going to happen is they're going to be proven wrong, and they're going to be proven wrong very quickly. But by this point in time, every single one of them has become a hodler. Not because they want to be. It's because they have no situational awareness. You can't tell me there's one person out there, if market's going to come off 80-85%, is going to want to hold through all of that just so they could say they're a hodler. It makes no sense because the name of the game is acquiring as much Bitcoin as possible. You don't do that by holding through a bear market of an 80-85% drawdown. It's not how it works. All right, how does it work? Anyone who's watching each and every day knows how it works. If you don't have the fortitude, if you don't have the awareness, and you don't have the mindset to invest in your time where it counts, then you're going to get left behind. There's nothing I could do about that. I'm here each and every day to help you. There's no question about that. If you are committed, I am committed to you. There's no question about that. There is nobody more loyal. There's no question about that. But if it's not for you, it's not for you. I'm not going to shorten the videos to get more views. There's no way. I could care less about that. If you think the content is low quality content, step aside. This is not for you. Back off. I could care less. But the people that are here, the people that have been here for a year, the people that have been here for 2 months, the people that have been here for 14 months, the reason that they're here each and every day is because they know what's up. All right. This is what I want to look at. Dave, speaking of knowing what's up, look at this, what he stays here with us each and every day. Right? Jordan, don't listen to those who dig their heels in. Kamamo, no kao. Words of wisdom, I guess. Dave, hey, Jordan, I've been watching my multi-year DXY trend lines. Let's take a look at the DXY really quick. Right? Let's take a look at the DXY as it's breaking out over here, breaking up today. Right? Circle this, everyone. This is where I'm saying this is funny. There's a lot to talk about here. So just, take a sip of coffee. Watch what's going on. The last time I called a trend change on the dollar was over here. Right? I was an enormous dollar bull. There you go. Alan, thank you for bringing that up as we talk about all of this. This is so important right there. Alan's all over it, as always. Thank you, Alan. Pay attention to signal. All right. William, thank you, my brother. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Yeah, I'm with you, Greg, my brother. All right, what else? Hold on one second. Hold on. You know what? It's Taco Tuesday. I'm fired up over here. We got a lot to cover. It's about to continue to get I didn't want to say it's about to get interesting, right? But it's about to continue to get interesting. I'm going to drop Head Snack over here, and we're going to listen to a little bit of tunes.
Markets, analyzing the charts, hitting projected targets within the margin. Find the flow, sip the matcha, and wait for the waves to come in with lobsters. The kind-hearted Jordan Fosters, working smarter, not harder to move the markers. On his way to conquer, trading and investing, drinking the coffee while reflecting on the blessing. The markets are not crashing, the prices might be slashing, just to pretend they're in fashion. Hit the like button, comments, and smash it. Boom, boom, Jordan in the room, grab the bull by the horns and to the moon. Flow from the plateau, make the play. Boom, boom, it's a taco day.
It's a taco day. It's a taco day.
Beautiful, beautiful. Great question over here, by the way. Great question building off of what we were just talking about earlier. What happens if institutions take what Alan AU just let us know over on the Twitter. What if institutions take out loans against their Bitcoin instead of selling during the bear market? Wouldn't that still remove liquidity? Listen, that's important to focus in on. As we see right now at this stage of the bull market, we continue to see Bitcoin coming off exchanges as price rising. Doesn't normally happen around this point of the cycle. That's important to consider when you're looking at an asset that has a fixed amount of supply. You just can't print more Bitcoin, and that supply continues to diminish. It's been about 500,000 Bitcoin that have been removed off exchanges. There's a whole lot of other Bitcoin out there, though. And this cycle, what you're seeing happen is you're seeing like these new seeds being planted, and you're seeing these shoots come up. 4 years from now, it's going to be a lot more significant than it is today, in my opinion. But that's important to pay attention to for sure. It's just way too early. What else we got going over here? Sometimes I think the content isn't long enough. I've been getting bummed when the live streams go. Happy Taco Tuesday. Thank you. And thank you, my brother, my sister. Sorry, Igor, my brother from another. All right, let's take a look at what's going on over here on the DXY as we're calling a trend change, right? See this over here. This was the last time I was an enormous dollar bull. I wanted to continue to be a dollar bull. I hold us all strong through this period over here. I put out my trend lines. I told you ahead of time what we were coming into. It held. We held. The dollar milkshake theory played out right over here. And then the Fed intervened. It was a game changer. We got the technical break. And even though I didn't want to, I became a dollar bear. Now over here, we're seeing another technical break take place. I gave it some time to prove itself. Then we came above this resistance, right? Not only did we come above this resistance, we pulled back for the retest, resumed off of it, and I gave it that little bit of extra. You got to prove yourself. And then we pulled back again. Boom. This is where the trend change takes place. What's next? Targeting this area over here, this blue area of supply is where I think that we go into. Is that the top? Well, I'm not trying to call the top on the dollar move, but I want to look at something interesting with you before I even get into Dave's work, which is very important because it's conquering the markets all day long. I first want to tell you when I would reverse myself, right? When I would become, if for example, we don't get into this blue area over here and then price comes off, it's got to now break below this trend line. Dave's trend line is in the same area as mine, a little bit different. So we're going to consult that. And then I'm going to see if we need to readjust this. I'm not doing that today, but it's going to be a break of this trend line that would say, okay, now it's time to say we've seen another technical breakdown. It's time to become bearish on the dollar. Looking at over here, this old paper from the Federal Reserve that was released in 1989, this was coming off of them looking at what happened during the 70s when we saw rampant inflation. Okay? I want you to focus in on this chart over here. Okay? What you're seeing is happening. This is when they started raising rates. When it was Volcker, right? The Fed chairman Volcker, he came out, he had to put an end to what was going on, and the Fed started raising rates aggressively. This is the DXY over here. And this is when that happened, you saw the dollar appreciate rapidly as they raised rates. Now, before that happened, this is kind of the area I think we're in right now. In this little area right now, we're not seeing the CPI rise yet. As the CPI started rising, the dollar did weaken. That's when the dollar really started to come off. This year in 2021, we should start seeing. But by the way, as we talk about all of this right now, I just want you to focus right now as the dollar is rising. What's Bitcoin doing? Bitcoin's breaking all correlations. Second quarter 2021, the trend continues. Bitcoin is being Bitcoin. I told you people were worried after the crash of the stock market that drug not only Bitcoin, but every other asset down with it because this was a liquidity crisis. This was a dollar shortage liquidity crisis. Since now we have an oversupply of dollars, we have actually too many dollars in the system. We're not seeing any type of dollar shortages. We have no signs that we're going to have a similar crisis occur. And it was directly after The week after, when everyone was worried about another stock market crash, I said by the time we have another crisis, it's going to be pretty far in advance. By the way, it was Kenneth. Kenneth yesterday on Twitter put out a couple of tweets talking about the Federal Reserve getting ready as far as this summer to launch a beta digital dollar program. This has been worked on with engineers over at MIT. It seems to me they're moving up their timeline. That's something that I have my eyes focused in on. It's very important. If you could see all my tabs open up top, I have about 7 videos on the digital dollar. Because what I am worried about, I'm always worried about the greatest risk to Bitcoin. Right now, during this bull market phase, could we get some likes? Could you smash the like button? And if you're new here, welcome. I am so glad that you are here. This is life-changing stuff. It's a question of whether or not you have the time, preference, and awareness to invest in yourself, or whether or not you just want me to tell you when to buy and sell or anything like that, which is not going to happen here. I'm teaching you how to fish. I'm teaching you how to see and trade the markets better than anyone else. And if you think that's like 1 + 1 = 2 and it's that quick and easy, you're going to get wrecked. Either which way. What are we talking about? What am I talking about? The digital dollar, the risk to Bitcoin. Right now, I've laid out for you repeatedly the only risk to Bitcoin during this bull market phase over here would be the Federal Reserve and a crisis in the system. We're constantly looking out for that. And why other people are constantly talking about an insolvency event that could happen this week, that's not us. We're looking for the real stuff. This is the real deal over here. There's nothing, in my opinion, that is setting up or occurring that could derail what is taking place over here. And if anything does come up, I know that we're going to be aware of it as it's occurring. I know that. We have a history of it. There's no question about that. What about in the future? Is there anything, an attack vector, a government attack against Bitcoin that could temporarily derail Bitcoin? Yeah, there is. There's no question about that. We're looking at India right now as they're getting ready to introduce their digital currency. And what are they doing? They're setting up attack against cryptocurrency, right? Could this happen as the Federal Reserve gets ready to introduce the digital dollar? Is that the time they will pick to attack the dollar? I don't necessarily think that they're going to, right? Nilo, big shout out, my brother. I don't necessarily think that they're going to, but if they're going to attack, that is going to be the time they attack. I have to be watching when their timeline is to introduce the digital dollar. It's one of the greatest they can't kill Bitcoin, right? But could they disrupt it? At least for those, especially in America. And will that disrupt what's going on in Bitcoin as a whole? Absolutely. There's no question about it. Let's talk about the metals. There's no question about it. Okay? We have to be aware. We have to watch. Now, there are other people out there who think that as the digital dollar is introduced, it's just going to be a giant on-ramp for Bitcoin. Everyone's going to understand digital cryptocurrency. When I say everyone, I'm talking about my mom, right? I'm talking about your grandma. Everyone is going to understand. And by the way, as that happened in China and they were introducing or getting ready to introduce the digital yuan, they were using Bitcoin as an example to educate people. That will be happening here as well. And that's the best case scenario. But I'm never looking at the best case scenario. I'm always very risk adverse, looking at the warnings of what could possibly come. And by the way, Kenneth, I'm highly appreciative of you sharing those tweets. I have them bookmarked. I read through them. I have to read through them more. Right now, they're talking about as early as July as releasing the beta dollar. I will continue to watch and make sure that I am aware of any risks that could derail Bitcoin. By the way, just to get to the punchline here, Bitcoin, white paper, a peer-to-peer network. Really, Bitcoin needs to mature to the place and time. By the way, really interesting interview I saw yesterday. People talking, I don't want to get into it. People talking about the threat of China if they were to become a malicious actor, if they're trying to get, because the most people invested in Bitcoin happen to be Americans. if they were trying to, all of a sudden pull the rug out, cause a crash in order to kind of hurt America and Americans. Anyway, it gets all interesting. I don't want to get into that. But what that comes down to, you would see the deep state inside the United States working with the cyberpunks, trying to go, and that would be uber bullish on Bitcoin. What I'm getting at, or wanted to get to, Billy Riley, over a year, my brother. What I want to get to is that the only way Bitcoin could be, let's say, immune to a government attack would be when Bitcoin became a true peer-to-peer network. At that point in time, Bitcoin would be immune to any government attack. It's far from that stage. Will it get there over the next 4 years? I certainly hope so. Anyway, let's get back to the technicals. Where was I looking at the dollar? I just wanted to let you know, as the dollar strengthens, Bitcoin is what? Is broken the correlations. Bitcoin is stronger than dollar. Wait until next quarter, third quarter 2021, especially the end of it, September, we're going to see fireworks. I don't care what the dollar is doing, right? So is Bitcoin the new milkshake? I don't know. Anyway, let's take a look at what's going on. I want to share some of Dave's work over here. Did I finish this over here? Yes. So as we start seeing later this year, the CPI rising, which they've already telegraphed to us, and it will be this month, this coming month, the next CPI print is going to be, let's say, an outlier. It's going to be really hot because it's coming off of data going back a year ago during the crisis, during the lockdowns, right? Lynn Alden has already prepared us for that. And as we get to a point when the CPI begins rising, is that when we're going to see the dollar coming from this area right here where it's rising a little bit right now and then really start to fall? Listen, that's why I'm telling you, sometimes the way I lay things out is a little... you just smash the like button or put a +1 if you're able to follow my train of thought at this point after watching for a year? And do you see how I lay out arguments where I lay out lots of different ideas until I finally get to it? I can't help it. If we break, it's possible that this move over here is nothing more than a fake out. That's why I have this blue area over here. This is strong resistance, right? And you can see this is right now into a strong downtrend. We sell resistance in downtrend. This blue box is here for a very important reason. I'm telling you right now that technically we have a big trend change in the dollar. At the same time, I'm aware of where this could top out and why it could top out. And then we could start seeing a massively strong move to the downside. We will, if we get a technical break, I'll clean up this trend line when I get to it. And that's going to be as we start coming back down and it becomes important again. I'll make sure I tidy this up. Fair warning, right? When it's time to be on the right side, I want to be on the right side. But any which way, what I'm getting at, this move on the dollar, and right now we're looking at a strong dollar and that could continue. Watching this area for a peak, right? If we break above here, this could get a lot stronger. We'll be aware, right? But at the same time, we could see, as they're talking about another $1 trillion for infrastructure, April, another $1 trillion for the next coronavirus relief package, and then the printer just keeps going. Brr, the debt continues to increase. There could come a point in time, right? And it could be a quick devaluation, as we saw during the Soviet Union, that happens overnight, where the dollar is devalued 20 to 30% overnight. Or it could be something that's a lot more slow, as we saw during this year over here. And if we come back down and take out this trend line on the downside, right, then things could start accelerating. And when I say accelerating, look what happened over here the last time inflation started to take off. You saw the dollar really take off to the downside until the Federal Reserve. It's a central planning. It's central planning. It's all about the Federal Reserve. When they acted and started raising rates aggressively, that's when the dollar took off. This is an enormous move on the dollar. Could that happen again? We'll be prepared for it if it does. All right, Dave, let's get into it. Dave, I've been watching a multi-year DXY trend line along with the JXY, this is the Japanese yen index, multi-year trend lines, it gave me the confidence to enter a trade on the US dollar Japanese yen after it presented a conquering the markets play. On its own multi-year trend line, see the following charts. The last one, by the way, as we get to it in a second, shows the conquering the markets play on the breakout, retest, and resumption. Here we go. I'm a big fan of the precious metals, and I will be, right? Countries and central banks are out there buying. They're buying for a reason. At the end of the day, it was JP Morgan himself who said that gold is money. All right, here we go. Let me clean this up over here. Let's look at Dave and what Dave's presenting over here. This is the DXY, looking at this channel starting in late 2011, right? Come out through today. You could see this big break over here. And then this is the first video, July 5th, that we did this year on the DXY as it was falling and breaking down. And we said at that point, why it could come down a little further. It could even come down as far as 88.40. We're looking here for a retest of that channel. That retest of the channel has occurred and it's broken out to the upside. So we had breakdown, retest, but we didn't have the resumption. We had the retest was a failed retest. We're back into this channel over here. Okay, very important awareness. By the way, just to one last time as I talk about this with you, very important over here. One last time as I talk about this with you over here. When we talk about breakdown, retest, and didn't have the resumption but had the failed one, what I'm setting up possibly that occur in the future, and I just discussed it with you, we could come out into this big area of resistance, downtrend, we sell resistance. I'm not looking to sell it. I would be looking to sell on the resumption down. This resumption could take place later. If that resumption takes place on Dave's beautiful chart over here, that resumption's taking place over here at some point later this year, then I'm looking for a massive move down, okay? This could be nothing more than a fake out. This failed retest could be a fake out. I'm prepared for it, all right? That's all. So what else? Then he's showing us on the 8-hour, the DXI coming into that channel that he saw happening, and he's setting up the break, the failed retest over here. Okay, come down over. This is the JXY, the Japanese yen. He also sees at the same time, this is breaking down from the channel. Here's the initial, the important line over here, right? Have a beautiful day, CGM. Thank you very much. You can see that he saw this breakdown over here, and then he loved it. He cloned the trend line off of the one touch, knowing that that's an important level. Price came into it. It held initially. It barely bounced, and then it broke down. So he's setting up the DXY breaking out back above that trend line. Stronger dollar. He's setting up the Japanese yen breaking down from this channel at the same time. He comes over to the US. There's a closer view of it breaking above the trend line. He comes over to the US dollar, Japanese yen. He's looking at this 6-year trend line break to the upside. And then he's setting up a conquering the markets play as you see price coming down for the retest and now resuming it off. Dave, excellent, phenomenal work. It's worth each and every one reviewing it with you because it just helps us all, make us all see clearer and makes us all sharper and better at doing what we do. This is what makes me the happiest, whether it's Brad this morning sharing his Bitcoin chart, showing us the channel that we're currently trading within, which gives us upside targets as we get ready to break to new all-time highs. Whether it's Will always sharing his keen chart work over here, or it's Dave sharing this presentation that we've just shared, it's all conquering the markets, and it makes me so happy over there. Jordan, this did too. This was just shared this morning. First thing I read this morning. Jordan, it's truly the best, thank you, at fostering a positive environment filled with education and support for his community. I celebrated 1 year with him this month. My life has changed, full stop. When I started this community, I put on the about section that ultimately my goal is to help the most people across the world live better lives. Thank you, Chris, for sharing that with me. I do appreciate that. Jordan, I found you a few months ago on YouTube and instantly knew I had stumbled upon something special. If you're new here, welcome. I was a Peter Schiff guy and could tell anyone who would listen that Bitcoin was a scam and the only protection is owning physical gold. I didn't understand Bitcoin because I didn't want to understand. You changed that. You put me on the right side of the only trade that matters right now. Beautiful. I've joined Conquering the Markets. I joined CTM and go by John S. on Discord. Thank you for teaching the Conquering the Market strategy. I have only just begun, but it has already changed my life. Thank you. I love it. It means the world to me. And this is Red. If you're watching this right now on the replay, I'm just showing over here. I bought there. I don't know if it comes back. That's the beautiful attitude right there. I don't know. You never know, right? I have a meeting. As you go live, I'm not going to be there, but you are here with us right now in spirit, which is why I wanted to share this with you. This is a great entry. Breakout, retest, resumption, and conquering the markets all day long. You guys are great. You guys are great, and I'm grateful for each and every one of you. What else are we looking at today? That's it. It's going to be a short session. There's something very, 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 very important I need to take care of over here spiritually, which is the most important. So I just want to say thank you all for sharing this Tuesday with me. Thank you all for making me a better person, a better investor, a better trader. Thank you all for sharing in this uniquely special thing that we share in. I love it, and I'm grateful for it, and I'm grateful for each and every one of you. Hold on one second. All right. S&P 500, right? What's going on? We have the consolidation, breakout, retest, resuming off. And now what? Consolidating above that last bit of resistance, turn support. It's still very bullish. The structure in place. It's just off the all-time high. What about the Nasdaq? Nasdaq we talked about yesterday setting this up. We talked about of the indexes, it was weaker. Why was it weaker? Because once it broke this trend line over here, right, it still hasn't gotten above that resistance. You can see it's still being rejected by that resistance. And you can see the structure on the Nasdaq continues to be weaker than that of the S&P 500. We like when there's this unity, this conformity between the indexes. That's when you're in a very bullish market. The stocks and the indexes remain unattractive. Are they risky? Not so much. We had the pullback. We saw this pullback coming, or potentially coming, I should say. We've had the pullback. They're not as risky as they were, but they're not attractive. And we're seeing the Nasdaq weaker structurally than the S&P 500. At the same time, you could also see this bull flag, potentially bull flag that is developing, a breakout above it and getting back above that little bit of trend line that is providing resistance. That will then send back the structure bullish, get above this resistance, and then it's on. Okay? But right now, it's under pressure, and it's looking weaker. I don't want to say weak, because once it broke out of this, it's looking much better. After that pullback, once it broke out of there, it's looking much better. And if I could fix that, you see that? You're all important to me. There are a couple of questions over there ready to get off, but I want to address them. This is also breakout, and then the retest, right, in play. There's also a bull flag, a breakout above as we come down further, even a breakout over here that then sends this. The other thing that we wanted to see was gold, right? Gold continues to dump out. Look at that. It never made it above the resistance. It was consolidating here for a while. I was looking for it and felt like it was going to get back into here. It never happened. We're dumping back out. It's under pressure, and it's under pressure because you're seeing the yields rise right over there. That's why it's under pressure. All right. What about silver? Same thing. Now, Peter Schiff, the guy is, I wish Peter Schiff was a Bitcoiner. Because if he was a Bitcoiner, if he was two things, if he was a Bitcoiner, and what I mean by Bitcoin, I mean that he was true to himself. If the guy really was honest and wanted to look at markets for the benefit of understanding markets and being on the right side of the trade, and that includes, as gold is going through a bear market for years, pointing that out and calling that out instead of just being ultimately ultra bullish on gold all the time. If I'm bullish during the bear market on Bitcoin, please, either which way, he has so much to add to the conversation if he were to do it in an honest fashion. Follow what Peter says about what is going to happen on gold and silver, because he's 100% correct. His timing is awful. And that's it, everyone. Here we go. Have a beautiful day, everyone. May God bless you, and I'll talk to you soon.